Hi guys, welcome to another episode of How to Tutorials. This is Super Sam once again, and in this very episode I'm going to show you how you can rig your character using Rigify in Blender. So let's get started. To rig your character using Rigify in Blender, you want to make sure your Rigify add-on is active. And to confirm that, come to File, come to Edit, go to Preferences, and then click on Add-ons. And here you can type Rigify, and then you have it here. So all you need to do is just check this Rigify add-on here. So once it is checked, that means Rigify is active and you can use it. That's one. Then also, you need to go to the system. You need to go to the save and load and make sure auto run Python script is checked. So once you have those two informations checked, come down to your save and save your preferences, and that's all. And now you have Rigify working in your Blender version. That said, the next step you want to go through is making sure your character mesh is dead center. Now to confirm that, I can see from here that my character is at the center of the origin where the 3D cursor is. And also, you want to make sure your character is facing the front. To also check this, click on 1 on your number pad on the keyboard, and that takes you to the orthographic view. Here you can see front orthographic. So that means this is the front orthographic view, and this is a proof that my character is facing forward, which is a good thing also. Now, in addition to these steps, you also want to make sure your character mesh is at 0 location for X, Y, and Z. Also at 0 rotation for X, Y, and Z. And then the scale information is all in 1. So you have X, Y, Z, 1. Okay, the scale of 1. Very important. So you can check your character mesh and make sure everything is well set. So if for any reason your character has other funny values in these attributes, all you can do is come to Apply, you click on Objects, come to Apply, or you can use the shortcut Ctrl A, and then you apply the location, rotation, or scale. Or to make your work faster, you can just apply all transforms. Okay, so once you do that, everything zeroes out to the defaults that you need, which is X0, Y0, Z0 for the location, rotation. And then for scale, everything on ones. Okay. That said, it's time to create our meta rig. So to do this, you can use the shortcut Shift A, and that brings up this add dialog. Now this add dialog can also be gotten from the add here. Once you click on the add here, you can see the same information. So I'm going to use the shortcut Shift A, and then come down to Armature. Now you can see this white arrow in front of Armature, which means there are other attributes hidden inside this Armature tab. So I'm going to click on, I'm not clicking, I'm just hovering my mouse over it, and this is going to come up. So I'm going to click on the human meta rig because that is what I need, since it comes with the meta rig for the facial features also, and you want to take advantage of that. So now you have your meta rig, and the meta rig is way bigger than our character in this case. So if you have this same situation where the meta rig is bigger than your character or way smaller than your character, most people tend to scale the meta rig, which is not a bad thing, but then they scale the meta rig in object mode, which that in itself is not also a bad thing, but then they fail to apply the current scale, rotation, and location of the meta rig, and that can pose a problem. So the best thing to avoid all this, the best thing to do is make sure you scale your meta rig in the edit mode. Okay, but if you don't want to go through that route, you can easily scale from the object mode also, just like I'm gonna do now, and then make sure you apply once you're done. So to do this, I want to check out my in front for the viewport display so I can clearly see my meta rig. And then I'm going to make sure my 3D cursor is in the center. So click on your meta rig and make sure you are scaling from the bounding box center. So it's scaling from the center, okay? Very important. So if your cursor is somewhere to the left of the object you want to scale, your object will not scale from the center, okay? So for this, I think we are good. I can easily go to my front view and then punch on the S key and pull in my mouse. Okay, you can see, so the more I pull in the cursor, the smaller the rig gets, and when I pull it out, it goes big. So the professional guys out there, you need to pardon me. I want to go so basic for the beginners to understand, because if most of you already know this process, you can probably skip the video, but this would help some people out, so that's why I'm taking my time to explain this. So I want to try and match the shoulder for me, and I think this is fine. And from here, I'm going to tweak the meta rig further to fit in the character. But before I do that, I don't want to forget applying the transform for this particular meta rig. And so I'm going to go to Object, Apply, and then Apply All Transforms. Now, before I apply all transforms, take a look at the information here on the transform. You have the location to be at 0, which is a good thing. You have the rotation to all be at 0, which is also a good thing. But the problem now is with the scale. I have 0.594 for X scale. For the Y scale, I have 0.594, and then for the Z scale, I have 0.594. But I want them all to be in 1. So to do this, just come here, location, apply, and in this case, I can just apply the scale alone. Okay, since my location and rotation are good, but then let me apply all transforms, and that brings everything back to 1, which is perfect. All right, now, after this step, I can then go to the edit mode to start tweaking my meta rig to fit in more with the character. So most times, I start with the feet. So I'm gonna select this, and then using a B to grab everything, I'll go to the front view and try and move things in the front view. And I also want to make sure I activate my symmetry, so whatever I do on one side would apply to the other side, because I don't want to do both at the same time, and that would be extra work. So just do one side and you mirror it to the other side. That gives a faster workflow. All right, so from here, I'm going to move this to the side a bit to fit into the character. And another thing I notice here is the visualization of my meta rig is kind of bigger than the character, because the character is very, very slim. And this would pose a bit of difficulty in terms of seeing what is going on with my character. So I can easily change the way my meta rig is displayed by coming to the viewport display, and then I'm going to change that to stick. So once I do this, I have something I can work with, and then I'm going to see my character better also. So this is a good thing. Yeah. Jumping to the side view, you can see right orthographic view. I'd like to push this a bit forward just to try and get the center of my character. So I think somewhere here is kind of cool. Yeah. And then I also like to see what my character looks like in wireframe. Yeah. So this helps me a lot in positioning things the way they should be. So I'm going back to the edit mode. And it's time to work on the character's ankle. So I'm going to select everything again and push this backwards. Okay, I'm going to push it backwards. Push it backwards. Then I can select this part alone and make sure the ankle is where it should be. So the ankle should be somewhere around here. Okay, yeah, looking good. Then for the toe, I can also select all these and pull it backwards to have the toe here. And then this part is meant to be very close to the base of the smallest toe. And that should be around here for the character. So I can just put it around here. Yeah. Now it's time to work on this bone. This bone defines where the heel rotates. Okay, when the character is standing on the floor, where the heel rotates. And you make sure this is somewhere here where the heel rotates. Okay, I can just pull. I want it to rotate around that, about that axis. That's one thing to note. And then another thing to note is make sure this bone is about the same width as your character's feet, because the bone helps with the side rotation of the feet. Okay, so for me, this looks too wide for my character. I can check it from the bottom view. It looks too wide for my character. You can see if I pull, it looks too wide. So that means I have to bring it down a bit, just tiny little bit, something like that. And now I can check it out. Okay, it's about the same weight. I can decide to bring this out a bit, just a little bit. Okay, so now I have something I can work with. Okay, back to the side view. Fine. So this is looking good. Now the next step is to move to the spine. I'm going to the spine now. I'm going to select this support bones for the hip. Select this. And I'm aware that you always have two connecting bones from the spine and the neck, and you don't want to make that disjointed. So whenever you want to select, make sure you select all the bone there so you don't disjoint anything. So I'm going to punch on the C to have this circular selection tool, and I'm going to click on that. Yeah, so with this, I'm sure I'm grabbing every bone that needs to be grabbed today. And back to the side view, I'm going to push this inward just to try and position the spine better. Okay, so this part has gone too forward, or it needs to be pushed backwards a bit. Yeah, something like that. And then you have that for the spine. Now, this bones here are the breast bone. So I'm going to select that, push it in a bit, push it upwards. So just somewhere there. And then from the side, I can, seems I grabbed something here by mistake. So let me just Control Z. Okay, so it's time to grab again, C, and then back to the side view, I'm pushing this in a bit, upwards, and maybe backwards a bit. Okay, so you have that. Now to be sure it's not sticking out, I can uncheck the in front, and now I can see it's sticking out, so I want to push it back in a bit. So just push it in. Okay, now back to in front. And then I can adjust it here. Maybe somewhere here. Okay, so this looks good. Now it's time to adjust the shoulders also. I can pick this up from here. And then pick this, and grab all these at the same time. Go to the top view, and then push this forward a bit. Okay, to the side view to see what we are doing. Okay. All right. So now I have that set. Now it's time to work on the arm of the character. Now this is the trick I use. I want to try as much as possible to keep this relationship. And so I don't want to rotate the arms of the character just anyhow. So that means I'm going to click on the bone here and then Shift S to bring my cursor to where this selection is. So cursor to selected. Now I have my 3D cursor in this position. So that means I can rotate about the axis there. But before I do that, I have to make sure that the rig here is selected. Okay, so I have them selected now. And also I'm going to change the pivot for my rotation to 3D cursor. So now I can rotate about the 3D cursor axis. And I hardly rotate anyhow in the perspective view because things can easily go wrong when you do so. So make sure you are in one of the orthographic views to do your transform. So for this, I'm going to the side view first, and then I'm going to rotate a bit forward here. Okay, so I'm trying to align that to the center of the arm for the character. And I'm going to go to front view to see what I've done. So I can see the rig is taken out, right? So I'll try and match that to the arm of the character. So I have this. So when you go to the side view, you can see centered or roughly centered. And then from the front view, it's roughly centered, which is a good thing also. But then from the elbow downwards, you can see that it's not quite matching the character's geometry. So we are going to fix that also. Now to do this, I'm going to go through the same step. Click on the elbow joint and then Shift S and cursor to selected. And now I can select all these, make sure the bones are selected and rotate in the perspective for this also. So you have this, now you come to the side view and make adjustments. Okay. So we are going somewhere. But now I can see that the arm, the wrist here is not quite matching with the wrist of my character, so I need to adjust that also. But the hand looks good already. I mean, it looks good here. But I can push this backwards a bit, so it's backwards a bit. And then I'm gonna push it into the mesh. I'm gonna push it into the mesh. Push it downwards a bit, and so from the side view, this is what I have for the hand. Now it's time to work on the wrist. So the wrist can take a lot of time, okay? You can waste a lot of time trying to fix the wrist. Waste in the sense that you're doing the wrong thing, okay? And it can be very frustrating. So there's this trick that you can use to fix the fingers, and I'm going to show you that. So I'm going to do for the thumb, and I'm going to speed up the other part for the other 4 fingers, okay? Because we have a lot of things to cover. So just watch how I'm going to fix this for the wrist. Now let's start with the wrist. You click on the wrist bone here. Make sure you go to the front view, the right view rather, and then you push this up to get. So I want 1 joint here, 2 here, 3 here, then 4 here. So you have 1 here, yeah, somewhere around here. Then I'm going to select a second one and then put it somewhere here. Okay, and the third one, I'm gonna put that here, and then the 4th one goes at the tip here. Okay, so once you are done setting it up from the right view, then you can go to the front view to make sure everything is well placed. So it's looking good from the right orthographic view, but from the front orthographic view, it's not looking too good. So we need to compensate for that also. Okay, and there are different ways you can go about that. You can start with using the method I showed you earlier on, Shift S, and then you bring in your cursor to selected, then select everything here. Okay. Now, before we move further, you can see my thumb is disappearing here. There's a quick way to fix this. Just come to View, and then you change your clip stats. Bring it down to 0.1, and now you can see your thumb clearly. So back to what we were trying to do, the front view. I'm going to rotate from the 3D cursor, R, in order to keep that relationship. Okay, so I'm looking at the center line here. Yeah, that looks good. And then I can move this a bit and inwards a bit, so just eyeball that. Okay, so you have this. You have this for the thumb, and I'm feeling like I need to push this forward. Okay, let me quickly do that. Let me quickly do that. I just want to match it with this line here. Okay. So it fits better. Okay, so now I have my bone in the character's thumb, and you can see this is just sticking out just a little bit, and that's fine. All right, now you can use the same process to fix all these. I'm going to speed it up right now. Okay, so now we have the fingers rightly placed. Now the next thing I want to tell you is anytime you do your fingers, make sure you know what the roll looks like. Okay, the bone roll is very important, because if you have your bone roll pointing in the wrong direction, if you have your bones pointing in the wrong direction, the curl of the fingers will not look right. Now to check out if your bone roll is good, the first thing I do is I turn on the axis, so I see the orientation of the bones. Okay, and now I would also like to change it from stick to octahedral. Yeah, so I'll work on the thumb first, and you see what I mean. Now if you look at this, you can see that the Z is pointing in the same direction where the fingers should curl in, and the X is pointing outwards, which means that every finger curls around about the X axis, and that is exactly what you want. Now for the thumb, I can see here that my thumb is supposed to curl into the space, okay? But the roll is not quite good enough. So I have to change the roll so that my Z will point downwards in this direction, kind of. Now to do this, click on the bone and then come down to items, and then you can see the roll here. So currently we are on 12 degrees for the roll. So I'm going to click and slightly drag until I get, yeah, I think I like this. Yeah, so if you look at my thumb, the thumb is supposed to point downwards, not towards this side. So I have a usable row for this bone, and I want every other bone from the thumb to also follow this row. So it's going to be a bit of work for me to start manually changing the row for each of these bones, but it's a shorter cut in Blender, and this is how you do it. You select this bone first, hold down Shift, select the second bone, and then select the bone that you've corrected the row last. So this bone has been corrected, so I'm selecting it last. Now it is the active bone. And I'm going to use the shortcut Shift N, and I'm going to click on active bone. So it's going to recalculate the row for active bone. So once I want you to see what's going to happen. Just check out what happens to these bones. They're going to snap back to the right orientation once I do that. So Shift N, no, Shift N, because I want you to see it. Okay, now you can clearly see it. Just look at the bone selected. Look at what happens as soon as I click on active bone. Bam. They all have a recalculated roll, and then the visual effect of that is the bone snapping into position, just as the edited bone is aligned. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing for every other finger. Yeah. So guys, here is it. I can go back to the stick. So we're moving somewhere. Now we have the face, the almighty face. Okay. From the side view, are we looking good? We're looking good. Okay. So it's time to fix the neck. Let me come here. And then usually we have two bones for the neck. Okay, so this is 1 and this is 2 for the neck. And so I'm going to, I think it looks good. It looks good so far. The head joint is what I need to push up. So I'm going to select this for the head and then push it up all the way up to where the hair is. Yeah, just like that. Now, finally, the face. So this is how I approach the face. I have to select everything for the face so I can scale it up. All right, in that case, let me hide these bones here so we don't get distracted. H to hide. I select all, then H to hide. And then I think I should hide these ones too. H to hide. I don't think I want to mess with the neck for now, so hide those. And this bone also really has no use for me for now, so I can hide that also. And I'm left with the face. So it's time to select the entire face rig, go to the front view, and then scale it up. Scaling up, and I want to push it upwards also. So I have my entire face covered this way. So this is the first step. Okay, now that I have the joints roughly in the right position, it's time to go in deeper and then make adjustments. So usually I start with every joint that are on the center line, and I make sure that they don't leave the center line. And the best way to make that happen is tweaking from the side view. So I'm going to go to the side view. But first, I need to hide some things here. I mean, everything looks so confusing right now. And since I know I have my X symmetry active, I can hide every bone to the left-hand side of the screen, which is the right-hand side of the character, and then focus on the right-hand side of the screen, which is the left-hand side of the character. So C to select all these, and then H to hide them. Okay, it's looking a bit cleaner now. Looking a bit cleaner. H to hide this one also. And I can leave this. I can leave this. Okay, that's one. Then the second thing I want to do now is, let me start with this right here. Now, take note, I just clicked on something, and when I move this around, you can see I'm disconnecting the joints here. You don't want that. You don't want to disconnect the joints here. So the best way to select this is using your C or your B to make sure you select every bone, every joint there. And when I move, you can see they're all moving, but they're not moving as a unit. That's because of my settings I have up here. So I can easily come here and then change the settings to median point. So this way, when you move, everything should move, right? And then because I'm not in the side view, you can see that the points are moving crazy, so crazy, okay? So you need to be in the side view to do that. I don't want them to move so crazy this way. So I'm going to the side view, and from here, I can push this forward. Now you can see they are moving as a unit. And I'm going to come here to see where I want it to be. I want it to be somewhere around this part here, the top of the nose. Okay. So front view, push it back somewhere there. Yeah, I think I'm good. I'm good. Now the second one is this joint here. I'm going to use my C, select that to make sure I have all the joints in there. Then back to the side view, and then push this inward also. Now this can also help you turning it on and off to see how far you can go, and turn it back on. Okay, so I have that for the nose, and then I'm also going to use this for the tip of the nose. Okay, so this is the base of the nose. Let me push this once here. See, select this, back to the side view, and select this also, push this down, push this in, because this is meant to be the base. Push this out. Now I'm pushing the base in. Okay. Now the tip of the nose, see. Yeah. No. I'm supposed to move it from the side view. Yeah, so from the side view. Okay, so now you have that. Now if you look closely, selecting the joints, you see this is 0, and that's what you want, okay? You want the X attributes for the head to be 0, so you have 0 here. And if you click on this one also, you have 0, which is a good thing. Click on this one, so you have 0, so that's what you want. Okay, so that's that for the nose. And I need to bring this down also. I'm going to the front view, bringing it down to the base of the nose. You can push it in a bit, and then from the side view, I think we are good. Okay. All right, so the next thing I want to do now is work on the jaw. But first, I would like to hide the mouth because it's really distracting now. And then go back to the side view. Now click on this and push it down. So somewhere around there. Somewhere around there is fine. You can toggle the visibility to see what is going on there. Now for this, I think this is coming out too much. I need to take it back in. Yeah, that's fine. And then I think this is coming out also too much. I need to take this back in. Then take this back in. Okay, so when you unhide that, this is what you get. Now it's time to fix the jaw. So back to the side view. I'm gonna click on this and push it back a bit in. Okay, just a bit the surface, or just beneath the surface of the skin. So this is going in also. This is meant to be here. So I'm pushing it in. No. This goes down here. I think at this point I can turn off the axis because it's also getting in the way. Yeah. So there you have that. And I think I want to bring this down a bit. Just, oops. Choose something else. Reduce the radius. Yeah, I can bring it down. Okay. All right, so I have that. Now the next thing I want to do is, I think I can hide the tongue for now and the teeth. Okay, so let's work on the brow. Okay, now you have that. It's time to go round this way. So I'm dealing with this this part now. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Then the next thing I want to do is fix this jaw. I think it's poking out. So I'm just gonna push it in. Let's see what is going on. From the front view, push it in. Just push it up a bit. So, okay. All right. So now we are almost there. Now for this defines the jaw open for the character. Okay, so usually I have this base here around the base of the ear. Okay, this is where the jaw opens from, the base of the ear. So I try to target that for this. And then this one can be straightened out. Okay, and should be around the temple area. So let me check it out from the front view rather, and make sure everything is in good shape. So I'm going to push this in a bit, turn this off to see what I've got. Okay, now I'm going to turn it on. Now you see that. So this is where the jaw would open from. So at the end of the day, by the time we generate the rig and the jaw open is not good enough, we can still come back and tweak and then regenerate. That's how beautiful blend rig is in Blender. Okay, then for the ears, depending on the story I have in mind, I usually don't spend much time trying to post the ears. Sometimes your story would require your character making use of the ears, so in that case you need to pay attention to the ears. But for me, I'm just going to roughly scale the ears. All right, the ears looks good. So we're done with the ears, we're done with the jaw, we're done with the nose, we're done with the eyebrows, we're done with the cheek. So it's time to set up this other part of the cheek. All right, that's that. And then the next thing is to work on the lips of the character. So to do this, I'm going to unhide everything that was hidden initially, and I'm going to go straight down to the lips, select the lips. Okay, this is more important now. So select the lips, and I'm going to hide every other thing. Yeah, because it's time to fix the lips. So now the next thing I want to do is unhide everything. Alt H to unhide everything. So we're done with the lips. We're done with the nose. We've not done the eyes. I think we should fix the eyes now. Okay, so this is the cheek. Now I'm feeling I need to bring this cheek downwards a bit based on the scheme of things now. Okay, so I can easily come in here, go to the side view, and then pull this down and in just a little bit. So there's no right or wrong way to do things. You try things out, and by the time you generate your rig and it's not working fine, you can easily go back in and adjust. So that is what I want you to pick from this very episode. Okay, and the next thing is to fix the eyes. Now to do this, I want to hide every other bones like we've been doing in order to limit the distraction here. So I'm going to select these ones. Or better still, use the C to quickly select these bones, then Shift H to hide every other bone except for those bones selected. So now I have the eyes. So now I have that. It's time to bring back all the hidden bones. So as you can see, talking about alignment, I would like to align this also with this. So let me click on the eye spot there and then push it a bit in. So let me just okay, cool. So I think the next thing is to work on the inner part of the head. That means it's time to turn off the body for that, and I'm going to select the mouth, the upper teeth, the tongue, and then the lower teeth, and then hide every other bone. So okay, now it's time to bring back the hair also, and you can see. So this is how it is. So now we are done rigging the character and then putting the rig in the right place. So the next step now is the step where you generate your rig, and this step is very tricky because when you generate the rig, so many things can go wrong depending on how you've positioned your joints on the character. So for us, it's time we click on the generate button. Now to do this, you must make sure you're in the object mode, because the generate button is dependent on the current mode you are in. This is what I mean. If I'm in the edit mode, the generate button disappears, okay? And if I want to generate my rig from the meta rig, I have to be in either the post mode, you can see it, either the post mode or the object mode. So I'm going to do it in the object mode. So click on generate. But before that, let me quickly save, Ctrl S, right? And then generate. So after a few seconds, I have the rig here. Now it looks like nothing has happened other than seeing this rig. And here, you can, I want to show you where it is. This is the meta rig, right? And then this is the rig here. So just using dots, it brings it out. So you can see this is the rig. This is the meta rig. Now this is the rig that helps you control your character. But nothing would happen if you don't use what they call automatic, if you don't parent your mesh to the rig. And in Blender, this is how you do it. So you click on the mesh, and then you hold down Shift and click on the rig, and then you use the shortcut Ctrl P for parenting. And now you can see set parent to. So you have different options here to parent, but for our purpose here, I'm going to use the parent with automatic weights. So once you click on parent with automatic weights, three things happen. The first thing is, number one, your mesh has an armature added to it by default. Now this armature, most times I put it at the top of the tree here. That's the first thing that happens. Then the second thing that happens is that you have width groups generated for that particular mesh. And these width groups will help you when you want to do your paint weighting and everything. So that's the second thing that happens. And then the third thing that happens is you have your rig here that was added to the scene also. Okay, so these are the three things that happens. Now it's time to control the character, and you can control the character in object mode. I'm sure you know that by now. But you come to post mode, click on the roots, for example, and then you move. So, like magic, the character is moving around. But this is not enough, because, I mean, our character is moving, which is fine, but the clothes are not moving with the character. Okay, we need to fix that also. That's one. To do this, you click on, let me go back to post mode, object mode in a moment. And I'm going to click on the character. Like I said, as soon as I created that parent relationship between the mesh and the rig, three things happened. We have the armature added to the mesh. Now, because I want this trouser to follow the rig, I need to add an armature to it too, for it to follow. So I'm going to click on the mesh for the trouser, and I'm going to go to the modifier and add the Armature Modifier. Now I'm bringing this Armature Modifier to the top of the tree, and I'm going to select the object for it as the rig that had just been added. And now that I have that, I can then click on the body that has the correct weight paint that I need. And I'm going to transfer that onto the trouser that I also want to follow the weight and the rig. So now I'm going to go to the paint weight mode and click on weight and then choose transfer weight. So once you do this, make sure you change the source layer selection to by name. Okay, so that's it. That's all you need to do. Now back to the object mode, I can then go back to post mode on the rig. And this time around, when I move the rig of the character, the trouser goes along, as you can see. Okay, so now it's getting interesting. Now I want to do the same thing for the top of the character also. So click on the top, add your armature, put it on top of the tree, then the rig. Click on the body that has the right weight, hold down shift, click on the body you want to transfer the weight to, come to weight paint, click on weight and then transfer weight and make sure it's by name, and then you have that. So now going back to this post mode, I can move everything, okay, with the character. So now you can see I can bring the character's leg up. So I need to do the same thing for the footwear. Armature, top of the list, rig, select the body, hold down shift, select the footwear, go to paint weight, transfer weight, very simple, and that's all you need to do. Okay, so now when you go back to the rig, in object mode, you can move the shoe. Okay, so there's a problem here now, and that's because I'm using the mirror on the shoe. You can see everything is not working fine, right? So to fix this, I'll just go back to object mode. Then I'll select the shoe. And here, I'm going to apply the mirror. So now I have the shoe as one unit, okay? So I'm going to go to the edit mode for the shoe. But before then, I want to isolate the shoe and go to the edit mode for the shoe. And this time around, I'm going to select, let me select it by the face here. So L to select all, or I can use my C to make sure everything is selected. Okay, so I have everything selected. Then I'm going to separate it by selection. Punch P on your keyboard, and then you click on this, separate by selection. So once you do that, go back to your objects mode. And then you can see the shoe has been separated. So you have the first one, and then you have the second one. So this is shoe right. So shoe dot R, and then this is a shoe left. So shoe dot L. Okay, so I'm going to exit the local mode, and now I have that. So it's time to do the same thing. Just click on the shoe. You already have the armature there, okay, which is good. So let me go to the post mode now and see. So that works fine. How about this? That works fine. Okay, so that's how you do it now. Now the next thing is the eyes of the character. Now, when I move this, nothing seems to happen to the eyes, okay? So it's time to fix that. And now when I move, everything works the way it should. Okay. All right, that's for the eyes. Let's see the brows. Okay, so this is the brows moving. And with paint, you can limit how the mesh is affected, or with G. So now it's time to attach the eyebrows also. I'm going to click on the brows, and I'm going to add the armature to it. I'm going to put it up, then rig, and then the same thing for this also, armature. I'm going to put it up, then rig. So I'm going to select the mesh, hold down shift and select the eyebrow, and then go to paint weight, transfer the weight, and that's all you need to do. So now when you go back to the rig, post mode, and you move the control, it moves. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing for the other brow also. Paint weight, and then transfer weight. And that's all you need to do. So now when you click on it, post mode, you can move. Okay, so we're getting there. And now for the hair, because if you notice when I move the character's head, the hair is not going along with it. So for the hair, what I like to do is parent the head to this control directly. That's what I do. Click on the head. Yeah, on the character hair, hold down shift, then Control P, bone. So now when I move the head control, the hair goes along with it. So now we have the teeth and the tongue to deal with, and to do that I can hide the character's body for a moment and then select the teeth. I think I have the teeth somewhere here. Okay, let me do it here. You select the teeth, dots, post mode, you select the teeth, shift select the upper teeth, then Control P, bone, and the same thing for the lower teeth also. Select the lower teeth, hold down shift, and then select the bone. Lower teeth, hold down shift, then Control P, bone. And now when you rotate the jaw, it should follow along. So it's time for the tongue also. Yeah, for the tongue I would like to hide this, hide that, and then I have my tongue all by itself. So I can post mode, one, two, three, and 4. I'm selecting the wrong thing. Okay, so hide every other bones. I definitely don't need these ones too, so hide them. Or better still, I can just turn this layer off because I'm done using the layer. Okay, so I have my controls for the tongue, and then I have the tongue all by itself. So I can click on the tongue here, and I want you to take note that I don't have any vertex group here, but watch what happens. So from the tongue here, then I want this to be in post mode. select the tongue, select this one, put it in front, 2, 3, and 4. Then Ctrl P, and with automatic weights. Okay, so once you do this, you can then go back to the tongue, and now I have my vertex group. But I don't want unnecessary vertex group here. I only want those ones that affect the tongue, and so I'm going to isolate the tongue. Then I'm going to lock everything and run this operation, delete all unlocked groups. So that gives me a cleaner slate. So then I can test out my tongue to see the deformation. Okay, you can see now I have a control for the tongue. And also, if I rotate the jaw, the tongue goes along with it. Okay, so that's good. Now I can select the rig and then move it around. And now you see everything moves around. And then for the leg also, I can raise the leg up. Okay. Yeah, I can do that. Then I can okay, so I can move the leg. You can see that. Then I can also rotate the feet now. Okay, you can see, like I said, the point for the heel roll is just where the initial bone was positioned, and then you can also see the bend here. Okay, so the bend here, you know, I added the toe bend somewhere here, so that's why the feet is bending around that part. Then for the bank also, let's see from the front view. Yeah, like I said, make sure the bone of that feet is approximately the width of the feet to get a better result. What else? I think let's check out the IK for the arm. So okay, everything looks good. It's deforming well. The shoulders, let's see the shoulders. Okay, so at this point you can think about using corrective blend shapes to tweak some of the body parts that are not giving you the right deformation. And you can even go as far as doing a corrective blend shape also for it. And most of the time, parts like the mouth would also give issues. You need to do correctives for those ones, and also paint weight. You can see the mouth of the character opening. Okay, but you can see that. Yeah. So you can see this triangular kind of shape here. This is what you get by default from Rigify. More like a pinch at the corners of the mouth, but those can easily be corrected using your corrective blend shapes also. Okay, so the mouth is opening fine. And then the sideways motion of the mouth is, I think, is cool. Yeah, let's see it from the side view, and then so with a corrective, with a shape, with a paint weight, I can paint out this part of the head a bit so it's more solid, right? So Alt R. Okay, that's cool. Then the eyelid is another part where you definitely need paint weighting for. So this is what we have right from the best. Okay, not too bad, but I mean, you can see that. Let me bring this so you see it from here. Okay, you can see the solve. Okay, so you just have to do a corrective to bring the penetration, to take out the penetration into the eyes. So that's it for the eyelid. Okay. Yeah, and then for the head, I think we are looking good. Alright guys, this is what I'm going to call it a wrap. I hope you've learned one or two things from this video on how you can rig your character using Rigify in Blender. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe and share this video. Until next time, stay true to your creativity.